It's easy to confuse movement with meaning, isn't it? You wake up tired, but still rush into another day, checking messages, answering emails, filling your time so you don't have to feel the silence. You tell yourself you're being productive, but deep down, something feels off. You've been busy for months, maybe years, yet your heart feels empty. You're running fast, but not forward. You're surrounded by noise, but no progress. There was once a man named Daniel, mid-40s, sharp mind, quick words, and always in motion. His small carpentry shop sat on the corner of a busy street, full of the hum of saws, the thud of hammers, and the smell of fresh wood. People said he was the hardest worker they knew. He opened early, closed late, never took breaks. And yet, the debt kept growing, his orders delayed, his life shrinking into exhaustion. The symbol of his struggle was a single, unfinished chair that sat in the corner of his workshop. A beautiful design he had drawn years ago, but never completed. Every time he looked at it, he told himself, "I'll finish it when things calm down," but things never did. The chair gathered dust, just like his peace. At home, Daniel's wife had stopped waiting for dinner together. His teenage son barely spoke to him. When they did talk, it ended in arguments about money, time, and the emptiness between them. Yet Daniel couldn't stop. He feared silence more than failure. The hammer's noise made him feel alive, even if it was slowly breaking him. Weeks turned into months. His hands grew rougher, his eyes heavier. One night, after a 14-hour day, he came home to find a note on the table. His wife and son had gone to stay with her sister for a while. The note ended with a single line, "You build everything except us." Daniel sat in that quiet house, surrounded by his tools, and for the first time there was no noise, just the hum of his tired breath. He went back to the workshop that night. The half-built chair seemed to stare at him like a mirror. That's when it happened. An old customer, Mr. Graves, a retired craftsman who'd taught Daniel years ago, walked in. He had heard about Daniel's struggles. Without saying much, the old man picked up a rag and started wiping the dust off that unfinished chair. "Still haven't finished it, huh?" he said gently. Daniel tried to laugh it off. "Too many orders. No time for art anymore." Mr. Graves smiled sadly. "Son, if the noise in your life doesn't lead to something worth sitting on, then you're just carving air." That sentence landed deeper than a sermon. Daniel stood there, unable to speak. The old man's words stripped away years of justification. He realized he'd mistaken motion for meaning. He'd been hammering, cutting, sanding, but never building himself. For the first time in years, Daniel locked up the shop early. The next morning, he didn't rush to take new orders. He sat with the unfinished chair and decided to finish it, not for sale, but for silence. Every cut was slow. Every line was careful. There was no music, no phones, no hurry. Just him, the wood, and the sound of breathing. Days passed. He began waking early, not for work, but for stillness. He started reading again, walking to the river nearby, talking to his son on the phone. At first, it felt strange, too quiet, too slow, but something was healing beneath that silence. Weeks later, the chair was complete, simple, strong, balanced, everything he hadn't been. He placed it by the window and just sat. No plans, no rush, just presence. And in that stillness, he felt something he hadn't felt in years: peace. Eventually, his wife returned. The house wasn't full of excuses or promises, just quiet understanding. He didn't need to convince her he'd changed. She could see it in the way he listened. Work didn't magically become easy. He still had bills, still had days when fear whispered. But Daniel learned something sacred. Progress, ISNT, the sound of effort. It S, the rhythm of purpose. He now keeps that chair in the front of his shop. When apprentices ask about it, he smiles and says, "That's where I learned the difference between movement and meaning." And maybe that's what you need to hear today too. Maybe you've been filling your life with noise, so you, Dan T, have to face the silence inside. But silence isn't the enemy. It's where real work begins. The work of healing, of focus, of becoming who you were meant to be. Not every busy day is a productive one. The loudest people often hide the deepest confusion. Silence reveals what noise tries to cover. True progress feels calm, not frantic. Consistency in small, mindful actions builds peace. Rest isn't weakness, it's maintenance for meaning. If you don't make time for what matters, chaos will make time for you. The unfinished chair in your life is waiting for you to stop running and start building. If this story found you at the right moment, don't rush away. Sit with it. Close your eyes, breathe, and ask yourself, what's the unfinished chair in your life? Then, quietly, bravely, begin again, because your peace is not somewhere loud. It's waiting in the silence you've been avoiding.